1.3, more rules of PHP. So let us continue the rules from the previous video. Basic rules in PHP, part 4. Now let's continue to talk about the global variables. But in this case, remember last time I talked about, so PHP discourages programmers to use global variables. So for that reason, inside a function, if you use a global variable directly, you will get an error. Okay, so discourage you to use that. But there is a very special case you may really need to use the global variable. So you should have some way to use it. Here, so let's look at what should we do in order to use global variables inside a PHP function. Use the global keyword. Global keyword. So you need to explicitly declare inside that function, these variables, I want to use them as the global variables. All right, The global keyword is used to access a global variable from within a function. So you declare those global variables inside your function. Look at this example. So we have two global variables declared outside any functions, PHP functions. Okay? But when we get into one of the PHP function, in order to use those two global variables, you have to explicitly use the keyword global to declare them. In this way, try to avoid bad, very hard to find runtime errors. Okay? So when you use this global keyword, you're aware of using global variables. You're aware of them. Okay? So think about if this rule does not exist, you do not need to use the global variable to access real global variables. You may not know you're using global variables, right? So you may like to use them as local variables because you couldn't keep track of all your global variables. Very hard to keep track of all the global variables. So by accident, you use some local variables with the same name as the global variables. What should happen? What would happen, right? So here, PHP solves that problem using this global keyword. Then you won't have that confusion. So local, global, you will never get confused. All right. So that is easy. Next, very important topic, PHP arrays. All right, because we need to use arrays frequently in PHP, so we need to understand the basic rules for PHP arrays. All right. And arrays, that's the basic meaning. Array stores multiple values in one single variable. So we know that through indices, right? Through a sequence of indices. So you can access the values. Example here. This is a simple array example. The first line, you create a variable called cars, but you use this here, array function. This is array function. Later we will talk about that array function. Then you pass the array elements as arguments to this function. You can use any number of arguments. Yeah. All right. After that, you can use it. Yeah. When you want to use those values through array indexes, 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. All right. So very simple. Yeah. All right. Now this array function. We can use this array function to create an array object. So we can call that array object. Okay, yeah. All right. Then after you create an array, another function also very useful, count function. Count function used to return the length, number of elements in that array. We need to use that function frequently. Yeah. But it is called a count. In PHP, the name of that function is count. Yeah. Not length, okay? Not length or size. So in different programming languages, that function name different. Yeah. In Java, you may use length, right? Yeah. In Python, so later when we learn Python, you use size. Yeah. Here, count function. Yeah. All right. So you can see, yeah. So we want to get the number of elements in this way, count. Yeah. All right. Next, yeah. There are 3 types of arrays. Yeah. So we want to know these 3 different types of arrays. Yeah. First type, indexed array. So that's the regular arrays we use. You know, we are very familiar with indexed arrays, yeah, with a number index. Yeah. Here I use another way to initialize element values in the array. Yeah, so this way, look at it. First, we create an array object or array variable. Yeah, object or variable. Yeah, array variable using the array function. Yeah. After we create it, it's an empty array. The variable is there, the object is there, but it's empty. There is no element inside. Yeah. So that's okay. Later we can add element into it. Yeah. So the first element, we assign a value to it. So we assign value 1 by 1 into it. Yeah. Actually, this way is better. This way allows you to add any number of elements. Yeah. The previous way, when we call the array function, we pass array elements as arguments into that function. Think about if we have a large number of elements. Do you want to do in that way? Yeah. So it's not very convenient. Yeah. And in this way, we can even use for loop to assign array element values. For loop. Yeah. So the data you can come from different ways. You can read from a file or database, you know, or some other objects. Okay? Yeah. So this way is much better. Yeah. But when you use this way, PHP has a also special property. Yeah. So quite different from other programming language. The order is not important. You can use any order. Even you can skip. Okay? Suppose we skip 3, we can call 4 another car. Okay? Another brand. All right? But we don't have cars of 3. Yeah. That's legal. That is legal. Yeah. So you can access in that way. But in that situation, you need to know some of the array elements are missing. So in your program, you need to be aware of those special cases. Yeah. Yeah. But you're allowed to do it in that way. Yeah. All right. The second type, associative arrays, array with named keys. Yeah. I think if you learned Unix or Linux, CS 2750, you learn this concept, associative arrays, using strings as the array index. Those strings we treat as keys, search keys. When we need to search an array element, we need to use a search key. So that string is our search key, that concept. Very useful. Yeah. So look at a simple example like this. Okay? We create an array. When we assign elements, values to the elements, look at the index we use. It's a string. String index. String index. And we use them as search key. Search key. Yeah. So it's legal. It is allowed. We call associative arrays. Yeah. Try to get used to this concept. Yeah. Because if you get used to this concept, you can organize your data ready for search operation. Searchable. Searchable. Okay, based on the keys, you can search in your data collection. Yeah. So that feature is useful. Okay. Yeah. All right. Another way to define an associative array. So this way. Okay. Yeah. Using the key value pair style. Okay. When you declare, you need to specify key, right? Yeah. Key equal, greater than that relationship operator, right? Yeah. This special symbol tells us we have a key value pair. Key and the value is this key value pair, and so on. Yeah. So this is also another way to define an associative array. Yeah. All right. Next type, multidimensional arrays. Arrays containing one or more arrays. Array of arrays. So multidimensional arrays. So we try to understand multidimensional arrays in PHP. All right. Let us just use two-dimensional arrays first. Then we can generalize the idea to multidimensional arrays. Yeah, but most of the time, we may use the two-dimensional arrays. Yeah. A two-dimensional array is an array of arrays. Okay? That means each element is another array. Each element itself is a complete one-dimensional array. That's the two-dimensional array. So this idea can be generalized to three-dimensional arrays. All right? Array of arrays of arrays. Okay? Yeah, nested. Yeah. Each element is a 2D array. We can treat it this way. So because 2D array is array of arrays. Yeah. Array of arrays. But you have many array of arrays. Yeah. 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 More confusing. Yeah. More complicated. Yeah. But the concept is there. Okay. Yeah. All right. So here, this is an example. So we create a 2D array. Okay. So each element, you can see each element is another array. Right? Each element is another array. Yeah. But here, there is one special thing I want to let you know. You can see here in this example, each element array, two elements, right? Two elements. Right. Two elements. Yeah. Array. Oh, not two elements. Yeah. So here, each element, you can see, yeah. Three elements, right? Yeah. Three. What I want to say is the number of elements in each element array are the same, 3. Do we require that? Does PHP require that? Answer is no. Okay? Answer is no. So that means we can put 5 elements in the first array, 4 elements second array, 10 elements. We have freedom to use different number of elements in each internal individual array. Okay? We do not require to put same number of elements in each individual internal array. Okay? Yeah. But in this example, we cannot see that. But the rule when we define array of arrays, we do not say each array in this part, they should have the same number of elements. We don't say that. Okay? We don't say that. No. Why I want to emphasize this point? Because in Python, each internal array, they must have the same number of elements. Otherwise, you'll get error. See? Otherwise, you will get error. Yeah. So this way, so each array you can use different number of elements, the same as the Java way. In Java, we do not require same number of elements in each internal individual array. Yeah. So you can see for different programming languages, the rules are quite different. Yeah. All right, next, I want to talk about another very important concept. Global variables, we just learned, but these global variables are very special. These global variables, PHP built-in global variables. Built-in global variables. So not defined by us. So defined by the PHP, the programming language. So they are called super globals. Super globals. Okay? Yeah. They have the higher status than other normal global variables. Super globals. Yeah. So what is a PHP super global variable? Yeah. Some predefined variable. Predefined. So that's how I called built-in variables in PHP are super globals, which means that they are always accessible regardless of scope. Anywhere, any place. Yeah. No matter where you need to use them, you just write the expression directly, you get those values directly. So those are the super global variables. Yeah. All right. So you can access them from any function, class, or file without having to do anything special. Okay? You don't need to declare global keyword. Don't do anything. Just the right expression directly. You get their values. Yeah. So that's the super global. For this class, I plan to use 3 super global variables. Most of the time should be enough. If you need more, so then you just study some examples. You can use more. Our first super global variable, this one, $_ capital get. Capital get. Do not use lowercase, capital get. Okay, underscore. So here you can see the situation we use underscore. We want to let people know these are very special variables, not normal variables, special variables. Yeah. All right. So what is this variable? PHP $_get is a PHP super global variable which is used to collect form data after submitting an HTML form with method equals get. So let me explain, okay? Let me explain. Form data first, form data, collect form data. Okay, all right. Form, you need to have an HTML form first, okay? Form action, because you need to specify what back-end server-side processing file, a PHP file you want to use, okay? Here, I just use a simple PHP file action, okay? Then you need to submit your data using one of the two HTTP methods, HTTP protocol. Yeah, later I will explain HTTP protocol a little bit. There are two methods we use to submit our data, get method and a post method. Okay? To specify the method, you use the method attribute equals .get. All right, yeah. Then you write your data, write a lot of things, different things. Then you close the tag form. Okay? You have some input field, but you also have a submit button. Submit button. You click it, you submit the data to the server-side program, this server-side program. Submit to it using this get method. All right? Yeah. Then this program receive the data, how to retrieve, use the super global variable to retrieve. Okay? Using the super global variable to retrieve. All right. All right. Here, let me give you an example. All right. Example, we have a hyperlink. So this is a hyperlink. It's not a form, okay? Hyperlink. When we click the hyperlink, we send to this PHP file. But we want to attach some parameters in this way. Parameter, key value pair. Parameters, when we send to server, we use the name value pair. Name value pairs to send parameters, right? The format, name subject equals parameter value PHP, ampersand. Ampersand to separate another pair, okay? Different pairs we need to separate, okay? We use the ampersand symbol to separate different parameter pairs. All right. The second pair, name web value w3schools.com and so on. Okay. All right. Then this is the text. When we click it, this URL will be called. Okay. Yeah. When it is called, now, here, you can see here, we didn't specify get method, right? We didn't specify get method because we do not have the chance to specify get method. Don't worry, if you do not specify any method, by default, default HTTP method is the get method. So you do not need to say anything. That means you want to use the get method. Okay? You just send your data. So at the server side, it needs to use this super global variable to retrieve it. Okay? Yeah. All right. So that is the situation. We use these super global variables. Yeah. But similarly, there is a post version. So here, let's take a look at the post. $_ post version. Yeah. Here you can see at the server side, when we need to retrieve data, we use these super global. Okay. The name, parameter name. Okay. The parameter value will be retrieved. So here, PHP value retrieved. Here, W3 school value retrieved. Right? Yeah. That's simple. Okay. So that's simple way we use it. Yeah. All right. Similarly, $_ post, capital post, super global variable. Yeah. So you can see by analogy, so what do we do? The same way, the form, right? That form, but only difference when you specify the method, you need to use the post. Okay? You submit the data. Okay? So when you retrieve, you use the super global this way to retrieve your data. Okay? Yeah. All right. But here, there is one thing I want to point out. The way we use super global to retrieve data, these ways not insecure. These ways are insecure because the data that your user send could contain some harmful code, some embedded attack, harmful code. So people can do some, special hacking trick to, attack your database. Yeah. So for that reason, we should use some secure way to get data from our users. Okay. So I will talk about those secure ways in the next video. Yeah, but not here. Yeah. So that's one thing. Another thing. Here I mentioned the post method and the get method. So what is the difference between post method and get method, right? Yeah. You need to know some basics of HTTP to know the difference. Yeah. So it's a long story. Yeah. So it is a long story. Yeah. But I do not want to spend too much time on it. Yeah. So I try to give you the difference when I have a chance. Yeah. Here, let me just say a few differences. Later, when I have more chance, I will say more. Okay. Yeah. Here. Yeah. The get method. The get method send data through URL. Send. How does it send data through URL? So here you can see URL. So you put data there, right? Yeah. Yeah. Send the data through URL part. Okay. Yeah. And the post send the data through not URL, okay? Through some internal body of the HTTP request. Yeah. So here, because we talk about HTTP request, you need to follow the protocol, right? HTTP protocol, follow the format. What is the format for HTTP request? The format. The first part, request line. The first line, Okay, the second part, multiple lines, request the header part. Okay. After that, there is a blank line. So blank line. Okay. Then the third part optional. Yeah, you may not need it sometimes, optional, but that's the request the body part. Okay. All right. Post, always send data through the request the body. Okay. Get, always send the data through request the line, because the URL is in the first top line of the request. Okay. From that property, so you can see the number of characters sent by get is limited, because the URL part, request line, you cannot set large number of characters. There is a limit. Okay. Yeah. So the typical limit is 4K. Okay. A typical limit is 4K. So you cannot set too many characters. Okay. But in the body, there is no limitation. You can send a large number of characters, no limitation. Any number of characters you can send. Yeah. So that's the first one difference. Yeah. Second difference, because in the URL, after you click the submit, the data appears in the URL bar. Yeah. So if you click the mouse cursor on the URL bar, you can see the data. Okay. Then it's not good to send sensitive data, right? Sensitive data. Username, password, credit card, social security number, bank account. You don't want to put there, right? It is very bad. Yeah. So you don't want other people steal your critical, sensitive data, right? So you want to use the post method to send critical, sensitive data. So that's another reason. Then another difference, bookmark. Sometimes for some special web page, you feel it's a good page I want to keep for a while. So you want to bookmark it. When you bookmark it, the browser stores the URL part. So in that situation, for the page you want your user bookmark, you should use the get method, because all the parameters appear in the URL bar. So when you do the bookmark, then the same page can be retrieved next time using exactly the same parameter values. Okay? But if you use post method, all the parameters do not appear in the URL part. So people cannot do the bookmarking. Okay? Even the page really good, I want to come back to the same page, but sorry, your bookmark cannot store those parameter values, so the same page cannot be recovered the next time you access the same bookmark. Not there. It is not there anymore. Yeah. All right, so that's the main difference. Yeah. That's already, you can see the key differences. Yeah. But I cannot talk much more than that. Yeah. Later, when I have some more chance, I can give you more background about get method and the post method. Yeah. All right, so let's finish this part B right here.